Receipts are everywhere, aren't they? Every time you go to the shops, go out to eat, or even withdraw money from the bank, you can almost be certain you will have the option to get a paper receipt. Now, obviously not a bad thing. In fact, they are incredibly useful. But what isn't is the material that they are made up of. Paper receipts are usually made up of a material called BPA. Now, the word BPA may sound familiar to you. If you go to a supermarket and look at the water bottles or plastic containers there, you will most likely find the word BPA free on it. The long story short of this is that BPA was once heavily used. Scientists found out that it was linked to some pretty bad health effects, which then led to some manufacturers switching over to alternatives. That's why you find the word BPA free on items. Now, the reason BPA is dangerous is because it belongs to a class of chemicals called endocrine disruptors. And what these disruptors do is affect the endocrine system in your body. Now, this system plays a very important role in the body and is responsible for a lot of functions, including metabolism, blood pressure, body temperature, growth and development, heart rate, reproduction, sleep-wake cycle, and mood. And so it's no wonder when you start messing with it, bad things can happen. Now, more and more studies are being published and new information is coming out all the time. But some of the stuff BPA has been linked to include heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, hypertension, and even lower testosterone levels in men. Now, the obvious question that may arise is, how does it get into your body? It is not like we are eating or drinking receipts. Now, the skin itself is not the ultimate barrier we think it is. It actually allows stuff to pass through. It's why it's possible for certain medical creams and poisons to work when applied to the skin. Studies have even confirmed this fact by showing BPA can be absorbed through the skin. One more thing, the EU did actually ban BPA in receipts in 2020, but that brings me on to my second point. Remember how I said manufacturers switched from BPA to alternatives? Well, the main alternative used for BPA is called BPS, and it turns out that this BPA-free alternative is actually just as bad as BPA itself. To quote Anthony G.J. from his book Estrogeneration, it is imperative to recognize that BPA-free does not mean BPS-free. Yet these plastic ingredients act virtually the same in your body. So if you buy a BPA-free bottle, it might be made from BPS or something similar. Now, how toxic BPA is still up for debate, with some saying that the risk of BPA has been thrown out of proportion. And it may be possible that we could find out 100 years down the line that touching receipts is perfectly fine. But honestly, I would stay cautious, just in case we find out it is not safe and actually really toxic. Now, what can you do? Well, here are 3 tips to minimize your exposure to BPA in receipts. The first tip is say no to receipts. Now, receipts are important, especially when you need to return something. But sometimes, if the item you're buying is cheap or some sort of consumable, realistically, the chance you're going to return it is quite low anyway. I mean, when was the last time you actually had to return a bottle of water or some sort of food item? Alternatively, some stores now offer digital receipts as well. The second tip is to avoid letting receipts come into contact with other items. Now, if you do need the receipt, keep in mind that BPA can not only transfer to skin, but it can also transfer to other objects as well. Try to avoid letting your receipt touch stuff you frequently handle, like your wallet or purse. And definitely don't mix it into your food. The third tip is to wear nitrile gloves. If you're a person who regularly handles receipts as part of work, you can reduce the amount of BPA you're being exposed to by wearing nitrile gloves and washing your hands after touching receipts. Though bear in mind not to wash them with hand sanitizer, as that has shown to actually increase how much BPA gets absorbed through your skin.